Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, like to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balaram, Gaurita Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So we continue with Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 12, and we're on chapter 3. So we'll do a quick overview of this incredible chapter. This is one of the famous verse from the Bhagavatam. Yeah, Guru Maharaj loved this verse. Yes, go for it.
Kale dosha nide rajan asti yoiko mahan gunaha kirtana deva krishnasya mukta sangha param rajet. Translation: My dear king, although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there's still one good quality about the sage. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom.
So Kali Yuga, of course, we can moan and groan about it, but that's not going to do any good because Kali Yuga is here. We have to live with it. And it's got an ocean of faults, but there is still one good quality. And that one good quality outweighs the ocean of faults. Why? Because simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Kirtana, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to a transcendental kingdom. So this one quality defeats billions of bad qualities. So, right. It's entitled the Bhumi Gita. This chapter describes how the earth took note of the foolishness of the many kings bent on conquering her. It also describes how even the age of Kali is full of faults. The glorification of the name of Lord Hari destroys them all. Sukadeva Goswami said, great kings, even those who are learned, who are actually just playthings of death, desire to subdue their 6 internal enemies. That's the 5 senses and the mind. And afterwards, they imagine they will go on to conquer the earth and all its oceans. Seeing their false hopes, the earth simply laughs. For eventually, they all must leave this planet and go elsewhere, as have all the great kings and monarchs of the past. We've seen them, right? Alexander the Great, so many powerful warriors, but they're simply names now. Simply just names. What good does it do by conquering anything? They meet failure because of material lust by placing great hope and faith in the dead lump of flesh called the body. It's pretty frank. The Bhagavatam is very frank. Even though the material frame is as fleeting as bubbles of foam on water. Moreover, even after upsurging the earth, or some part of it, which is actually unconquerable, it must in every case be given up. Fathers, sons, brothers, friends, and relatives quarrel over it because their hearts are bound to possessing power, political power. So we see this all the time, right? Even Bhagavatam even says something that even over a few pennies, families fall out. But no king can permanently establish a rule. A list of kings is given who intensely tried to possess the earth, but were subject to the passage of time, which reduced them all to mere historic accounts. I would even go further and say, history is so easy to forget. There's nothing, absolutely nothing, meaningless waste of breath and effort to conquer something which is unconquerable. Thus, the study of history naturally leads to the conclusion that all worldly achievements are temporary And this conclusion should give rise to transcendental knowledge and to a sense of renunciation. If we know what we're doing is an absolute waste of time, we would try to find something which is not a waste of time, because everybody wants to spend their time to do something useful. But if we're engaged in something that's totally not going to help us to do anything, would we waste our time? But because we're under the illusion that this body is permanent, or this body needs to be enjoying sense enjoyment, we endeavor for so many things. Ultimately, we cannot enjoy anything permanently, because this world is temporary. And any achievements that we enjoy in this world are temporary. So we should try to fix our minds on what is not temporary, to the transcendental world. And through transcendental knowledge, we can get this sense of renunciation that, you know what, I'm not going to waste my effort with the material world. Instead, I'll focus myself on spiritual subject matters. Ultimately, the highest goal of life for any living being, entity, is pure devotion to Lord Krishna, which annihilates all inauspiciousness. The devotee should engage in such listening in regular daily assemblies, and should also continue his hearing throughout the day. This is where Jayanti is amazing, because she's always listening to lectures. It's a very good practice. Just when you're cooking, put the lecture on. When you're doing something else, put the lecture on. You know, it's good to, because you learn so much from devotees, and there are devotees who can really give wonderful, sweet, transcendental knowledge. So Parikshit Maharaj, then he asks more questions. How can persons living in the age of Kali rid themselves of the contamination of the age of Kali? Brilliant question. Please explain the different ages of universal history and the special qualities of each age, the duration of cosmic maintenance and destruction, the movement of time, which is direct representation of the Supreme Lord. So he asks a whole lot, and some of those questions he's already asked, but sometimes he wants a little different angle to the answer, and that's what Sukadeva Goswami does, gives him different angles to understand the same point. The description of the ages are as follows. So then Sukadeva Goswami gives explanation. In Satyayuga, religion is present with all four of its legs intact. So that's truthfulness, cleanliness, austerity, and what's the other one? Truthfulness, cleanliness,
mercy.
Mercy. Well done.
Mercy, and some say cleanliness, and some say fourth is a charity. So I would go for cleanliness.
Yeah, that's true. There's the difference sometimes. You're right.
Yeah, there's difference sometimes. Yes,
can I tell all of them?
Yes, please. Go for it, Riansh.
Can I tell all the four legs of Dharma?
Yes.
Purity, truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and cleanfulness.
Very good. Well done. Fantastic. Good boy. Religion is carefully maintained by the people of that age in Satyayuga. People are very pious. These four legs are truthfulness, mercy, austerity, and cleanliness. And there you go. In brackets, charity, some people say. The people are, for the most part, self-satisfied and merciful, friendly to all, peaceful, sober, tolerant. They take their pleasure from within. They don't look outside for pleasure, like pleasure from eating a gulab jamun or, that's usually our issue, something to do with the tongue. Either we want to talk something, want to eat taste something like that. The tongue is our biggest enemy, one of our biggest enemies, apart from the mind, of course, if it's not under control. See all things equally and always endeavor diligently for spiritual perfection. So Satyayuga is an amazing age. Satyayuga, one leg of religion, austerity, is reduced regards of four pillars of religion. By falsity, truth is diminished. By violence, mercy is diminished. By dissatisfaction, austerity is diminished. And by quarrel, cleanliness or charity is diminished. So that's interesting, these four things, how different things lead to the EU religion, basically. In Tretayu, people are devoted to ritual performances and austerities. The Vedas is very prominent. The sacrifices done in the Vedas is the prescribed method of attaining self-realization in Tretayu. They're not excessively violent or very lusty after sensual pleasure. Their interest lies in religiosity, economic development, and regulated sense gratification. They achieve prosperity by following the prescriptions of the three Vedas. Although in this age, society evolves into four classes, most people are Brahmins. So generally in the first age, everybody's very much Brahminical in their mood and attitude. Similarly, Tretayu, that time the four classes become more manifest. They're already manifest, but they become more visible to the society, to the eye of the society. But even then, most people are Brahminical by behavior, by attitude. Then we come to Dwapara Yuga. Another leg of religion, mercy is lost. People are interested in glory and are very noble. So they're, if you make a promise, you keep it. This is one of the things about Dwapara Yuga. They devote themselves to the study of the Vedas. They possess great opulence. They support large families. They enjoy life with vigor. Of the four classes, Kshatriyas and Brahmins are the most numerous. And in this age, the standard of religion is set according to the worship of the deity. So that is the prescribed method of self-realization in Dwapara Yuga. Deity worship. Opulent deity worship. Kali Yuga, so here we go. Our favorite age. In the age of Kali, only 1/4 to truthfulness of the religious principles remain. Even that, you could argue that even that's not really there. People tend to be greedy, ill-behaved, merciless. They fight one another without good reason. They're unfortunate and obsessed with material desires. The people of Kali Yuga are almost all Shudra and barbarian. So Sukadeva Goswami gives his analysis. The mode of goodness. So now he answers another part of Sukadeva Parikshit Maharaj's questions. The modes, how are they prominent in the different yugas? Mode of goodness is prominent during Satya Yuga, and the mode of passion is predominant during Treta Yuga. The mixed mode of passion and ignorance are predominant during Dwapara Yuga, and in the age of Kali Yuga, the mode of ignorance is predominant. Atheism, the smallness and inferiority of all things, and devotion to the genitals and belly are very much evident in Kali Yuga. So this is very familiar territory. Satya Yuga. So okay, we're still on the modes. When the mind, intelligence, and senses are solidly fixed in the mode of goodness, that time should be understood as Satya Yuga, the age of truth. People then take pleasure in knowledge and austerity. When the conditioned souls are devoted to their duties, so the first one is they're fixed like in meditation. Their mind is controlled, intelligence is controlled, senses are controlled, and their focus is meditation. In Treta Yuga, the focus is duty. I do this because it is my duty to do it, but have ulterior motives. So either they want to become famous, or They want to be known as great personalities. They seek personal prestige. You should understand such a situation to be Treta Yuga, in which the functions of passion are prominent. Passion means recognition. You do something because you want to become looking good in the eyes of society. So then when the Dwapara Yuga, when greed, dissatisfaction, false pride, hypocrisy, and envy become prominent, along with the attraction for selfish activities, such a time is the age of Dwapara Yuga. So then these elements of irreligion start to pop up, dominated by the mixed modes of passion ignorance. Kali Yuga, here we go. When there's a predominance of cheating, lying, sloth, sleepiness, violence, depression, lamentation, bewilderment, fear, and poverty. That age is Kali, the age of the mode of ignorance. So then he dives into Kali Yuga, because that's coming up for them. Because they're in Dwapara Yuga, towards the end of Dwapara Yuga, beginning of Kali Yuga. So he's giving more information about Kali Yuga to Maharaj Pariksit. Because of the bad qualities of the age of Kali, human beings will become short-sighted, gluttonous, lustful, poverty-stricken. Now, poverty-stricken isn't just about money, it's about character. People have no character. I was just thinking that at the moment we are trying to build or trying to renovate a center, and it's so hard. Kali Yuga, there's so many obstacles, and when we approach, the pious people, even they don't want to assist us, don't want to help. Some of them are like, there's a few people we talked to today who are at death's door, practically speaking. Yet they don't want to depart with a penny. And you think, you really are poverty stricken. You've got a lot of money, but you haven't got any understanding of, you're not going to take that money with you. Use that money to help others. And especially if you can help somebody to promote Sanatana Dharma. It's amazing. Anyway, what to do? The women become unchaste, will freely wander from one man to another, to the next. Cities will be dominated by thieves. The Vedas will be contaminated by speculative interpretation of atheists. Political leaders will virtually consume the citizens. So like nowadays, the sort of home bills are going up fast. And partly this is due to the behavior of the politicians and the stupidity of the behavior of some of the leaders, that it leads to increasing the burden, effectively consuming the citizens with their burdening them. The so-called priests and intellectuals will be devotees of their bellies and genitals. The brahmacharis will fail to execute their vows and become generally unclean. The householders will become beggars. The vanaprasthas will live in the villages, or hardly there will be any vanaprasthas. The sannyasis will become greedy for wealth. We know this, right? There's a saying, isn't there? There's a really funny sort of joke. If you want to become rich, if you can become a computer programmer, you get good money. You want to become richer, you can become maybe a politician. But if you really want to become rich, become a god man, become a sannyasi, and then you'll mint the money. And we see that. Many so-called gurus, so-called sannyasis, they're so rich, so many bank accounts, so many cars, and houses. What are you going to do with it all? You're going to die. It's going to all be here, left here, taking nothing with you. Women become much smaller in size, and they will eat too much. They have more children than they can properly take care of and lose all shyness. They will always speak harshly and exhibit qualities of thievery and deceit. Businessmen will engage in petty commerce and earn their living money by cheating. Even when there is no emergency, people will think any degraded occupation is acceptable. Servants will abandon a master who has lost his wealth, even if that master is a saintly person of exemplary character. Masters will abandon an incapacitated servant, even if that servant has been in the family for generations. Cows will be abandoned or killed when they stop giving milk. This is where Guru Maharaj would really have so much compassion for the Gomatas. Often he would shed tears how they're treated. In Kali Yuga, men will be wretched and controlled by women. They will reject their fathers, brothers, other relatives, and friends. Will instead associate with the sisters and brothers of their wives. This is so accurate. It's just, I can personally testify to this one. The conception of friendship will be based exclusively on sexual ties. Uncultured men will accept charity on behalf of the Lord, will earn their living, their livelihoods by making a show of austerity. People's mind will always be agitated. They will become emaciated by famine and taxation, will always be disturbed by a fear of drought. They will lack clothing, food and clothes, food and drinks, and will be unable to properly rest. So these are all yet to come, I think. They'll have sex or bathe themselves and will have no ornaments to decorate their bodies. The people of Kali Yuga will gradually come to appear like ghostly, haunted creatures. Men will develop hatred for each other, even over a few coins, giving up family relations. They will be ready to lose their lives and relatives. Men will no longer protect their elderly parents, their children, or their wives. Thoroughly degraded, they will care only to satisfy their own bellies and genitals. People's intelligence will be diverted by atheism, and they will almost never offer sacrifice to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Terrified, about to die, a man collapses on his bed. Although his voice is faltering and he's hardly conscious of what he is saying. Objects, places, and even individual personalities are all polluted. So he carries on. There's more, more predictions about Kali Yuga. Living entities contaminated by the influence of Kali do not worship the Supreme Lord Sri Hari, even though they can be freed from all bondage and easily achieve the supreme destination simply by chanting the glories of his name and taking shelter of him. But if somehow or other the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes manifest within the hearts of the conditioned soul in Kali Yuga, then all the faults of place, time, personality inherent in this age will be removed from the contamination accumulated during thousands of lifetimes. When meditated upon by those who are about to die, he reveals to them their own eternal spiritual identity. Kali Yuga is an ocean. So this is the verse that we read. Such an amazing verse. Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, but it possesses one great quality. Simply by chanting the name of Krishna, one can be delivered from material bondage and attain the absolute truth and be promoted to this transcendental kingdom. All that was accomplished in the age of Satya by meditation, in the age of Treta by sacrificial performances, in the age of Dwapara, which is deity worship, is easily gained during Kali Yuga by the simple process of Hari Kirtan. Whatever result was obtained Oh yeah, sorry, I'm repeating myself here. Satyayug meditation, Tretayug sacrifice, Dwapayug by serving the Lord's lotus feet through temple worship can be obtained. In Kali Yuga, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Chapter 3 of Srimad Bhagavatam, 12th Canto, Ki Jai. Really amazing, amazing chapter. So any questions, any comments, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Yes, just a frighteningly clear picture of the Kali Yuga, which was predicted 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Just cannot imagine how true this all is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It is true. Yeah, and taxation and the drought, everything is coming so true.
Yeah. And even like, children being killed by parents, it's just crazy. No protection for those who are dependent.
No, no,
It's crazy, crazy,
it's
crazy.
amazingly.
But that one good quality outweighs everything. So in one way, we're very fortunate, extremely fortunate, because Kali Yuga, because of all the disadvantages, the Lord has given one amazing quality. He's given His holy name, That's it. Don't need anything else. That's why when we go out on Harinam and chanting on the holy names in the streets, and so many innocent people, or so many even crazy people hear it, they benefit, even though they don't know it or understand it. Even chanting once, even mockingly, laughing, jokingly, has such a benefit.
I wonder what the other sort of like those who worship Shiva or demigods, what do they think about this, and what do they do in this Kali Yuga?
Yeah, good. Because you're right, demigods actually they aspire to take birth in them in Kali Yuga because it's so easy to gain liberation, especially when in previous ages it's so hard to become God conscious, but in this age it's so easy and so nectarian, because meditating, sacrifices, Vedas is so complex. Deity worship is so hard if you want to do it properly. We do deity worship, but it's Krishna is very kindly accepts it, but it's nowhere near the standard it should be. But Kali Yuga, Hare Krishna, that's it. Don't need anything else. So easy. And then he makes it even easier because he gives the name of Ram. So, like, there's this pastime of Valmiki. He was so cruel a person. He couldn't chant the name of Ram. So Narad Muni said, "Okay, no problem. Chant Mara, 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 Ram, 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 Ram. Yes, you got it."
Yeah.
So.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Naniman. Very good observation. Anybody else? Anything?
Praveen.
Yes, Praveen.
Yeah. In the starting, you read something about this bhajan. Is in that message? In that paragraph, it said material bondage, which I didn't understand. So I said I better ask you, but you carried on. So I said I'll leave it until it's finished now.
Good. No, thank you for asking. What material bondage means is our attachment to this world. So if we're thinking, oh, I love my car, I can't live without my car, I can't live without my house, can't live without my family, that's material bondage. We are caught in this prison house.
This web.
Oh yeah, this horrible web, a spider's web, and we can't get out of it because we're thinking, we're limiting ourselves to a certain condition, and that is keeping us in this world. That's bondage.
Bondage, okay.
Being like,
thank you.
Prison, yeah.
Okay,
but the idea of spiritual knowledge is to, through spiritual knowledge, we detach, we cut these ties of attachment. So yes, he is my son, but actually he's a servant of God. He's not
In
my
my
son.
care.
It's not
In
my
my-
son. Yeah,
Yeah,
My care.
he's only in my care.
it's my care.
It's not that we abandon the child or
Do our best for them.
we do our best for them, but in the mood that I am looking after this person on behalf of my Lord.
Okay. Thank
So that
you.
way the
And
attachment is to the Lord and not to the temporary thing here.
all right, thank you. And whatever you said about the Kali Yuga, everything is true.
The predictions in this book are amazing.
Yeah, and you are giving better knowledge to go into Satyug, and time will come one day,
Yeah.
which is very good.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. No, thank you. Hare Krishna. Anybody else? Otherwise, we can shift on to the Nrsimha prayers. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.